Welcome back, Shalloners. Well, the quarantine continues. And I think for those of you guys in relationships, I'm single, when this whole thing first started, it was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so fun to be quarantined, and I'm just so happy that they're here with me, either because like, oh, I still have such like hot feelings for them, or I'm just so glad they're safe. Boo, have you changed your mind yet? Have you changed your mind yet? Someone was joking that like, no one in America is getting laid right now. Like if you're by yourself, and if you are quarantined with a partner, you're probably just like ready to just murder them. And so people were asking like, you know, is the birth rate going to go up after this? Or is the divorce rate? And the divorce rate in China like went way up. People were like, enough of you. So today we're going to talk about how to keep the spark alive under quarantine. And we're going to peg it to Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello because they recently did a live stream singing some songs and talking about how they're passing the time. And I think there's some stuff we can learn from this. And I've been getting some feedback from you guys breaking down like kind of what their vibe is and if it's a little sus and what we can learn. We're going to get all into it. But before we do, just a reminder, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo if you want a video shout out at ShallonXO. Also, if you have a love question, head to shallonlester.com and click Get Help. Plus, join me every day at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern for live streams where we alternate talking about using the law of attraction to manifest and do lessons on that, and also talk about dating advice, and you can submit questions there too. So let's get into it. All right. Shawn and Camila seem to be in Atlanta. I don't really know why they're in Atlanta, but that was like the location tag on their live stream. And they put up a live stream singing Ed Sheeran's song, Kiss Me. Ugh, melty. And they've done this duet before. They did it, I don't know, like years ago before they were dating when Shawn looked like a little baby teen. And so it was really cute, and it was really, you know, I thought it was adorable. But a lot of you guys sent it to me. One of you guys, Chastity in particular, was like, I don't see a ton of chemistry there. You know, like when you're doing something like singing together, like the synergy and the vibes, and there's a reason musicians date each other, because when you're engaged in that, it's like this chemistry and this magic happens. And several of you guys were like, I didn't see that with them. It just seemed very like, okay, we're collaborators, but like he didn't give her that look, like that love look, that heart eye emoji. They also didn't kiss, which, you know what? We know how they are when they do kiss on Instagram, and they can keep it. But they also talked about like what they're doing. They've been binging Harry Potter and talking about which houses they'd be in. And it was funny because Shawn said Camila would be a Gryffindor, and she's like, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Is that because it's not true? Are you really a Slytherin or miscellaneous, aka Ravenclaw? What does Ravenclaw even stand for? Nobody knows, and nobody cares. So it got me to thinking about how we can like sort of make this work and keep the spark alive. Because at first I was like shocked and impressed that they were quarantining together, because to me that said they don't have a fake PR relationship, which also meant Shawn is straight. As we know, I need to believe that that boy is straight. I need this, okay? Gays, you can have anyone else. You can take anyone you want. You can take Daniel Craig. You can take Idris Elba. You can take Barack Obama. I will accept that Michelle is his beard. I don't think it's true, but if that's what it takes to keep Shawn on our team, I will play that card. I'll do it. So I thought, wow, they're quarantining together, and this must be like kind of a big step in their relationship. They've been together for like a minute now. What, like over a year? Ugh, talk about our long national nightmare, my God. But it got me to thinking, you know, what do you do if you're with your person and maybe it's going great, but maybe by this time you realize there's such a thing as too much quality time. I remember when Hurricane Sandy hit New York. It was a few years ago, but I was like on like date number 3 or 4 with this guy, just at that like ooh zingy period. And he's like, hey, do you want to like ride out the hurricane together? And I was like, yes. Oh my gosh, we hadn't hooked up or anything. I was like, I was so excited, like so excited. I was like baking, and it was a disaster. I mean, it was a disaster. Like by hour 6 or 8, I was like, we have both made an egregious mistake. I think the shift came when he used the phrase, I usually only date models. I choose a natural disaster over you. I will take on nature because I feel like nature understands me and respects me more than this motherfucker. So things can go real left real fast. So if you're locked in, here's how you can get out of it. The first thing, accept that you're probably not going to be having sex like all the time. And I think this is what a lot of us assume. It's like, it's just going to be like a fiesta. And at some point, like, you might be realizing that, oh, the sex you have is kind of meh. Not bad, but just a little like, oh, this again. You're starting to see patterns. You're like, oh, okay, they do this and this and this in that exact order for that exact length of time. And this is, it becomes like boring, like familiarity, as they say, breeds contempt. And the more you sleep with someone, not like, even if it's good, it's not novel anymore. So you got to mix things up. I actually reached out to adamandeve.com. They're the #1 like sex toy site in the world. They've been around for like decades and decades. And they are offering a 50% discount on one item. 50%. Like, yo, you can get a nice ass vibrator for that. 50% discount when you use the code Shallon plus free shipping in the US and Canada. It's awesome. I mean, they have, oh, I've got it pulled up here. For research, I'm totally going to use my own code. Oh, they've got things. They have got things. They've got things that move. They have things that you move into. Oh, they have got lingerie. They've got stuff for her, for him, for couples, lubes, bondage, all sorts of stuff. Okay, so this is how you make that fun. You guys like get on your separate computers and be like, okay, we have like a $50 limit, because if you use separate computers, you can use the code each. See? And be like, okay, I'm going to buy something for you. You're going to buy something for me, or just something that like seems fun, right? And maybe put some parameters, like no, whatever your particular parameters are. And then wait, because there's still time to order this stuff. Like, we're still going to be under quarantine when all this shit arrives, right? So let's like have some fun. And in the meantime, I want you to put on a show called Gigolos. I've talked about gigolos before. I feel like I should be getting kickbacks from Showtime, because I am like such a proponent of this show, because it really, like with my ex-boyfriend, we watched it. We were kind of in like that first few months of dating, just when things could have become kind of like routine. It really leveled up our communication that propelled our sex life into like the stratosphere. Like, he was a problem, but people are like, why'd you stay? I was like, well, just, I mean, love, but also some other things. So the show is about literally gigolos. And it's old. I think it like ended in 2014 or something like that. There's like 2 or 3 seasons, but they are so funny and weird. And they have like actual sex, like on camera with people. And I remember watching it being so annoyed, because when I had my reality show, like I could have offered people $1 million to just be in the background in a scene, like my friends, and they'd be like, no. And I'm like, how the hell did you find 3 people per episode to fuck on camera in like the harshest natural daylight you could possibly imagine? It was, but they kind of set it up so it's like in every episode there was like one like kinky person. And so it just created a lot of opportunities to talk about sex and hooking up with my boyfriend at the time. And that truly is the foundation of good chemistry, is communication, right? Because so many people have so much shame around it. Oh, I can't talk about it. What if it's weird? What if people laugh at me? But if you have like a show that you're talking about, it's less pushy. It's not like, I like to wear women's panties, you know, or whatever. I do wear women's panties. Freak. So it would just seem, it came a lot more organically, and you could like veto, you know, or accept certain things through the context of talking about the show. And it just was less weird. It seemed less like, oh, demonstrative. And even, you know, even if you don't order anything from Adam and Eve, it's cool to just go on the site and poke around. Even if you're just like, what is that thing? What does this do? And you just kind of learn a little bit and broach the subject here and there, because like I said, you got to talk about it to be good at it. And sex is like anything else. You have to practice to be good at it. So if you're by yourself, you want to practice. Like, did you guys see what I put on my Instagram? Go to my Instagram right now. I posted a press release from the New York state government that was not a joke. I was like, okay, this is clearly a joke. It was not a joke, about how to stay safe sexually during this, that like your safest sex partner is you. but be sure to clean all your dildos. I'm like, what is happening right now? They're like, you refrain from rimming. I was like, what? Why is my government telling me this? Please stop it. I'm just picturing Andrew Cuomo himself being like, hey, don't put your mouth on other people's anuses. I'm like, Dad, stop. Stop it. It's wild. If you ever think you have what it takes to be a New Yorker, that press release should tell you that we are on a whole other level. Like, don't come to our state trying to put your mouth on people's buttholes. Don't fucking do it. We'll put you in jail. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. But having all this sexy time is all well and good until you want to scratch someone's eyes out because they put a dent in the peanut butter with their finger or whatever little peccadillo is under your skin. It's a fact that human beings need a certain amount of square footage to like stay sane. When you put too many people in the same space, in a too small space, it's something called reflexive biting. We see this like in experiments with animals, namely rats. Like they don't do well. When they have their rat paradise, which is a lot of room to roam and explore, they're happy, they're social, they get along. You put them in something half that size, mayhem. People are the same way. And you're probably realizing that right now. You probably didn't even need that example. So it's important to understand that like part of the ire you feel could be based on reflexive biting and simple logistics. Whereas if you had individual rooms and floors and basements and compounds to retire to, you wouldn't feel this way. But maybe there's no alternative. Maybe you're stuck. I live in a small New York City apartment, and when my boyfriend would come to visit, I would be like tearing my hair out by the end of it. Like I loved him, but I'm like, this is not a 2-person dwelling. It's just not. I'm not a big person, but he was. And it's like, oh, he was always like crashing into things. And I'm like, oh my God. It was just not oriented for 2 people. So if that's kind of where you're at, here's some ways to make it work. First, boo, you got to get your own schedules. You got to get your own schedules. And this is even if you have all the space in the world, you know, like from here on out, you can apply this advice to whether you're quarantined with your family, your friends, your siblings, your college roommate, whatever it might be. Get your own schedule. Get up at different times and go to bed at different times. And that can be hard when you're in a couple, I get, but as much as possible because you need your alone time. Like my boyfriend would literally get up before me and just go sit in the bathroom. He'd like sit in the dry bathtub and like answer emails and take conference calls so that I couldn't hear it. Like if he wasn't walking around the neighborhood, if it's like too cold. So, and that was really helpful. He wasn't like laying in bed, like when is she going to wake up? When can I make noise? When? Order some earplugs on Amazon. I like the Max, M-A-C-K-S earplugs. They're like squishy. They're kind of like putty. They're great. They're on Prime. They're not sold out. No one's like COVID stocking this shit. Get an eye mask, right? I don't know about you, but if I don't sleep well, I come undone. Like there's no powering through it if I'm not sleeping well. No, I cannot have my sleep disrupted, which is why I've always had like a difficult time having a boyfriend because boys can like sleep anywhere. I have to have the body pillow, the weighted blanket, just the right temperature, the eye mask, earplugs, the breathe right strip. My sleep has to come before absolutely everything else. So if you're kind of like frazzled because of that, buy something. You know what? I'll put them on my Amazon storefront. You can go to amazon.com/shop/Shallon Lester and you can find my storefront. I have a whole doomsday prepper list. I'll add them on there and you can just put them in your cart and like be done with it. You can also buy Plan B on Amazon. It's on Prime, but that still takes like 2 or 3 days. And when you need it, you need it. So maybe have it on hand, you know? Plan that slutty stuff up front, girl. So have a schedule, and not just have a schedule for when you get up, have a schedule for yourself, just like you would in normal life. You wouldn't be spending 24 hours a day with your boyfriend. I mean, I fucking hope not. You'd probably be going to work, going to class, seeing your friends. Make time for that. Be like, my work hours are 8 to noon. Okay. Then I break for lunch for 2 hours, perhaps 4. And then I work another 36 minutes until I realize I can knock off. Have your time. Get out of the apartment if you can. I know that like we're not supposed to, and I don't mean like out at a Starbucks. Go up to the roof of your building if that's possible. Go to the courtyard, sit on the stoop, sit on the corner of the block if that's something that your city's allowing. Just me like here I take walks every day. And this morning, my mom and I went to the beach because like we're still allowed to do that in SoCal. So that has been hugely helpful. But even just sitting in the backyard or sitting in a different part of the house where I am by myself in repose is nice. And when you tell someone, okay, hey, these are my work hours. And when I'm at work, I am at work. I don't want you coming over, hey, did you see this meme? I don't want you asking me where the peanut butter is. Why do so many of my examples involve peanut butter? Don't come over and fuck with my peanut butter. This is the takeaway. And really keep to that, you know, like when you're working, because this is a very finicky financial time for a lot of us. And so if you still have a job, you got to hold on to that shit with both hands, right? You can't afford to be slipping. And it's good for him to be like, okay, I have to entertain myself. And then say, at noon, we're going to make a nice lunch together. So why don't you research some recipes and, you know, we'll using what we have in the cabinets and we'll make it work. Some other things you can do are start a new hobby together, and probably not like racquetball, you know, right now, probably not building a car engine. If you can't start a new hobby, I was thinking something like playing cards, like learn how to play poker, use pretzels as chips. Like, wouldn't that be fun to like learn together? You can watch a million YouTube videos on the subject. You can download books. Another thing you can do is start your own little book club. I recommend something a little sexy, even if it's 50 Shades of Grey, which is so bad. That might not be a terrible idea because it is so bad. You can like joke and laugh about it. You can pick parts and act out the scenes, right? Like you got to think outside the box a little, but notice the theme here. Church and state. You got to keep some parts of your life separate. You have to take some time to do the things you need to do, whether it's like, okay, chore hour is 1 to 3. Like that's when we do our laundry, we clean the apartment. I cannot relax in a messy environment. You guys see like where I live and how I live. I like things very clean because mentally, it's like Kim Kardashian's house. She's like, I'm so overstimulated. I want to come home to a place that is pure rest. And that is truly like become my new design aesthetic. And especially if you have someone else in your space or a space that maybe you guys were only really in together like 4 hours a day after work. Now it's 24 hours. It might be time to be like, let's clean out our closets. Let's get rid of all this shit on the wall. Do we need live, laugh, love, and gather? No, we can just have one. So make that a project. It's going to give you a sense of control, a sense of camaraderie and partnership, right? And that's going to be really helpful because you have to, it's like, you have to keep both busy and yet separate at the same time. Because if you're not keeping busy, you're going to look at him as the thing that needs to keep you busy, and that's going to lead to a lot of pressure and therefore resentment. You don't want that. Well, perhaps my biggest takeaway is to please not mistake intimacy for rudeness or rudeness for intimacy. Don't pee with the door open. Don't even brush your teeth in front of one another. A boy, I can count on one hand the number of times a boy has seen me brush my teeth. There's no reason for it. And that probably sounds extreme. I was raised to be very ladylike, you know, like it was a house full of women. We were ladylike women. We didn't talk about like bathroom stuff. There was just no need to. We're very open emotionally, but that just was like, it was unladylike and untoward. And I have carried that into my relationship with boys. There's no like burping or other things in front of people. When boys do that in front of me, I never want to have sex with them again. Never. Never. It gives me the ick instantaneously. I don't abide it. I don't laugh. I don't pretend like it's funny. I convey my horror and my shame instantaneously and unequivocally, and they hopefully never do it again. And if they do, they never see me naked again. I mean, that's great. So definitely keep those things separate. It's never too late to start because it really does cut down on the intimacy and on the chemistry. I don't know, like you guys are probably going to leave stories in the comments like, well, I go to the bathroom with my boyfriend in there. That's, wow. Okay. That's, why? Just why? What is there to gain from that? You know, I like, you know, to be in my own personal space, like I love shutting the bathroom door. Like shutting a bathroom door just when I'm doing my makeup or plucking my eyebrows. I'm like, the bathroom is where the soul can truly be alone and unfurl itself and find rest and peace. Not even the bedroom. People feel entitled to come into the bedroom when you're in there. No one busts into the bathroom. So if you need a respite, start taking some long baths. Start taking some long showers. Be like, I'm going to be in the bathroom for 45 minutes. I'm going to put a mask on my hair. I'm going to sit in the dry tub and read until it's ready to take off. Then I'm going to take a shower. If you need to pee, you do it now. You wash your hands and that's it. Be sure to take time for yourself. Take some walks around the block. Put on your headphones and listen to a podcast for a little bit if you want. And also, like I said, if you guys want some sex toys, oh, and this is the thing, they also come in really discreet packaging. So yeah, you could order them and like your neighbors might not, you know, it's not going to be like just like a big old dick painted on the side of them. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. You know, you can always tell an Amazon box instead of that little swoop. Oh no, that's a wiener. But no, they're super discreet and they've got a bunch of stuff. But like I said, you know, even if you don't buy anything, just go and looking. It can really spark some fun conversations with your boyfriend. But if you do want to shop, you can use code Shallon for 50% off and free shipping. Not too shabby. Guys, I promise this is not going to last forever. And if you feel yourself ready to claw your partner's eyes out, talk about it, because there's a chance they're getting to that point too. And just be like, okay, look, we need to take some time. And maybe it's that you guys shouldn't be quarantining any longer, but I know it's like you're not supposed to leave unless he's got a separate by himself place to go back to where like he's not going to get more exposure. That might be for the best, because you don't want this to cost you your relationship. And we are truly in such a unique situation where we can't get away from people, and we are not meant to spend this much time with somebody. We're just not. Like, if you think about historically, people, it's like, they're out at the factory, she's working in the fields, he's off at war, he's at work, she's home with the kids. Like, no one's together like this much. It's not natural. We renew ourselves when we are alone. So try to find that alone time as much as you can, and it's going to work wonders for your relationship. For more, click like and subscribe, and go follow me on Instagram at ShallonXO. And if you want a video shout out, find me on Cameo at ShallonXO, and your girls on TikTok for some daily wisdom and inspiration. And like I said, join me every day at 3 p.m. for live streams doing dating advice or manifestation lessons. And be sure to check out my podcast, Girl on Top, out every Wednesday.